of extraterrestrial
A
origin.
large, hairy creature with arms that hang down beside bore down on its sides.
Only heavens. And I told him my name, and when I told him the name, he said he was called Code.
It was not anything from this earth that I'm quite sure of.
You're listening to the Strangeology podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Foran, and this is your place to explore the weird, strange, and unexplained. From cryptids and creatures, the paranormal, aliens and UFOs, forbidden knowledge, ancient mysteries, conspiracies, and more. All right, hey everyone, welcome back to the Strangeology podcast. Thank you for bearing with me over the past, I don't even know, month and a half or so since the last episode. Things have been a little wild, a little busy, probably too busy, really. If you follow me on social media, I think I made a post about it recently. It's been quite tricky to find the time lately to edit these last few episodes from my Contact in the Desert interview series. This one for today is going to be super interesting. I hope you'll like it. But just as an FYI to everyone listening out there, I recently found myself being offered a job within my old wheelhouse of graphic design and marketing. And it was kind of an offer I couldn't refuse. So a lot of my days and time have been spent focusing on this new position. Strangeology isn't going anywhere, so don't worry. It's just I've been trying to get into the flow of things and get used to the new work paradigm at this new job, and also balancing out trying to still create content for Strangeology, get things edited. It's been a little tricky, and the end of summer was definitely busy, and then throughout September, thankfully the kids are back in school, so that frees up a little bit of time. But as you know, sometimes this show has to take a break as I have things going on, still ongoing with the home renovations and that stuff, but some progress has been made there. So yeah, it's been busy, but it's good to be back. I'm going to try to get these episodes out every few weeks. I have about 3 more after this that need to be edited. And then my plan is to get back to doing some more interviews and to do some more research-based episodes, kind of go back to basics for at least a little while. With the holiday season fast approaching, that always gets tricky with timing as well to create content and do research and all of that. But so in case you've been wondering where I've been, that's kind of the long and the short of it. Your boy has a new job. It's taken up a lot of time. And usually I would work on Strangeology stuff kind of in the night anyway, for the most part, but by the end of the night, I am just maxed out, and more often than not, I'm finding myself falling asleep in my chair as I'm trying to get things done. It's just wild times at Strangeology HQ, but we're not going anywhere again, and thank you so much for bearing with me through this whole process of trying to balance out Strangeology, professional life, home life, and all of that. Sometimes life gets crazy. But I wanted to say a quick shout out. The past weekend, the last weekend of September, I attended for the 4th year in a row the Whitehall Sasquatch Calling Contest and Festival. And it was an absolutely jam-packed day. And thank you to anyone out there who stopped by my booth. It was my first time doing a double booth, which was actually really cool, and I'm probably going to keep doing it in the future, especially if I ever have help along with me. I really liked the setup of people just being able to come up and grab and go for merch, and it worked really well. But yeah, thank you so much to the folks who organized that event. It was probably the best the best one yet, I think. I heard about 8 to 10,000 people who showed up, which is just wild. It just keeps expanding every year. And next year in 2026 is going to be their 10-year anniversary. And they're expecting it to be even bigger than before. I think there was something like 140 to 150 vendors. And it's just such a good time. So if you're ever in the Whitehall area, upstate New York, New England, you definitely need to go. If you love cryptids, I would say it's the go-to event for this part of the country, really. And I will definitely be there next year. It's such a fun time. They've got food trucks, they've got a bouncy castle for the kids, and just so many vendors sending it, really, or in selling stuff too. But yeah, so that's about all for the interim updates here. As usual, make sure to follow me on all of my socials. I am still trying to post on there at least once or twice a week, hoping to get that back to more than that kind of a frequency. Yeah, it's going to be good. But you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'm also on X, Threads, Facebook, you name it. I'm everywhere. And if you want to support the show, if you want to hear more content from me, definitely support the show. I have an Etsy shop over on strangeology.etsy.com where I have tons and tons of merch on different types of apparel, stickers, pins, magnets, prints, blankets, mugs, tumblers, all sorts of stuff. There's something for everyone. So definitely check that out if you want to support the show. You want to hear more from me. It definitely helps out a lot. You can also support me by becoming a member of my Patreon over at patreon.com/strangeology. There's tons of bonus content from the podcast there. I usually post new merch designs early for everyone to check out. And there's other perks as well. I recently kind of pared down the Patreon as well, just to kind of simplify things. So currently there's only 3 tiers down from 6. But if people are interested in the T-shirt of the month club, I can reactivate that. It's been a while since anyone's really joined on that. I know times are tough for people, but I certainly could use the support as well. Always appreciate it. And yeah, so without further ado, let's get into today's episode. This episode features an interview with Robert Salas, who, as some of you may know, is an important figure in the world of ufology and disclosure. And you'll find out a lot more about him. And it's definitely, he's got a wild story about being stationed out in Montana and there being a UAP, a UFO that came by and started messing with the nuclear missile silos there. This is just, it's such a wild story. And it was an honor to get to interview him in person. And again, these interviews, the audio is a little bit wonky. I did the best that I could in post to clean up the audio. It's just big, wide open rooms with no sound treatment. So I think I did a pretty good job, but that it is what it is. And I hope you enjoy this episode, this interview. So sit back, relax, grab a drink, a snack, and let's get into it. All right, welcome back, everyone. Today on the Strangeology podcast, I am joined by former U.S. Air Force Captain Robert Salas, key firsthand witness to one of the most chilling and compelling UFO incidents in American military history. Back in 1967, while stationed at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana, he was on duty when several nuclear missiles went offline under mysterious circumstances, just as a UAP was seen hovering above the base. And since then, he's become a powerful voice in the movement for government transparency on UFOs and has testified before Congress to demand disclosure. So we're going to dive into what exactly happened that day. So thank you for being here, Robert. And I know that we're just going to get into it. I know time's limited today. Really appreciate having you on. This is a privilege. So for those unfamiliar, can you walk us through just
what happened that day at Malmstrom?
Thank you for inviting me. This was March 24th, 1967. I and another gentleman by the name of Colonel Fred Mywald were a two-man crew in command of 10 Minuteman I intercontinental ballistic missiles. On that evening, during the entire 24 hours, one of us had to be on alert status. The other one could take a break. We had a little cot down there, taking a little nap. So that evening, I was on duty officer in charge of the facility. And we call these launch control facilities because we had all the controls there to launch the 10 missiles under our command. They had no ability to do anything topside. We were located 60 feet underground in a hardened, reinforced capsule that would supposedly withstand a nuclear blast above. And we were locked in with a huge door, not to be opened except for meals. And at the time, we would have another crew relieve us after a 24-hour tour duty. Well, sometime in that evening, I get a call from the topside guard, and he's saying, "Sir, we're seeing some strange lights in the sky. They're flying above us very fast. There's no engine noise. They are making a strange, very unusual maneuvers, such as stopping in midair, reversing course, making 90-degree turns, very unusual maneuvers. And, sir, these are not aircraft. These are not airplanes in any way." I even said, "You mean like UFOs?" Because at that time we were getting reports in the local newspaper, the Great Falls Tribune, about people reporting lights in the sky, strange lights, and similar to what he described to me. So I was just kind of joking with him, but he was very serious. He said, "Sir, these are not airplanes." I took him seriously. I did not think he was trying to spoof me or joke around. This was a serious report. But I said, "Well, let me know if something more interesting happens. Keep watching those lights. I'll talk to you later." So we hung up. About 5 minutes or so later, he calls back. And this time he's completely frightened. He's babbling. He's shouting. He's making statements I can't comprehend. He's loud. He's crazy. And I finally calm him down. And he says, "Sir, I've got all the guards out here. Their weapons are pointed at some light. It's a large red-orange pulsating light that's hovering just above the front gate," which was about, I'd say 12, 15 feet high. So this thing was pretty low. It was right there above the front gate. They were extremely fearful. And he said, "What do I do, sir?" And I reminded him that it was his job to secure the facility, do whatever you have to do that, secure the facility. And I'm not going to tell you how to do your job. Don't allow anything to enter the fenced area. And at that point, he said, "Sir, one of my guards just got injured. I'm going to have to hang up." He hung up the phone. I went over next to tell my commander, who was taking a nap, about these phone calls. And before I could get anything out of my mouth, we got our first horn go off, which we knew what that meant. It meant one of the missiles had just shut down, or became from green go status the red no-go status. And then all the rest of them shut down in succession and very quickly. We jumped up, went to our stations, went through our checklist. The other thing we had indicators of was incursion lights, which gave us the possibility that something was entering where the missiles were located. They were about a mile or two away from our location. But we had these incursion lights at two of the facilities, so I called back up right away. First thing I said, is that object still there? He said, no, it just flew off. But it was just that moment. And so it was there when the missiles went down. And the guard is okay. We're going to have him helicoptered back to the base to get stitches on his hand. He had a gash in his hand, but it wasn't from the UFO. It was from his reaction. Anyway, it's a little bit of a confusing story there, but no real problem. But so I sent guards out there, and they reported when they got close to the facility, they reported the same thing: UFO above the launch, the missile launch. I'm sorry, the launch facility where the missiles are actually located, and they reported UFOs hovering above that. So that probably set off those alarms. But at any rate, at this point, all our missiles were shut down. My commander called the wing command post and told them about the shutdown, and they told my commander that the same thing had happened before. But when my commander told me that about that conversation, he just said the same thing happened at another launch control center.
Interesting.
I thought it was that evening when he told me that, but it turns out later I find out that it was 8 days earlier. And so after that, we waited for the maintenance crews to arrive to bring the missiles back up on alert. They had to do that manually. It wasn't anything where they could just turn a switch.
Yeah.
Because they had to retarget the missiles. So we had to wait for that to begin, which didn't begin until probably the next morning. The next morning, we were relieved by another crew that came, took over. We left, and we were ordered to report to our base command, our wing command, our squadron commander. And so that's what we did when we got back to the base. We immediately reported to his office. First thing I asked him was, what the heck was that? What happened? Was this an Air Force exercise? He said, no, absolutely not. This was not an Air Force exercise. There was nothing Air Force planned. Okay, so we got that out of the way. And then this other guy that was with him in his office was a man from AFOSI, Air Force Office of Special Investigations. And he shoved a piece of paper at us, said, sign here. What's this? It's a non-disclosure statement agreement. Non-disclosure meaning you're never to talk about this to anyone. Nobody in the Air Force, your wife, your children, nobody, ever. And if you do, you'll spend a lot of time in Leavenworth prison. It stated that right in the back.
Yeah.
So, needless to say, we took it seriously. We signed it. We left, and that was that. Until 27 years later, 1994, I had been working for FAA. I was out of the Air Force in 71. I came across a book in a bookstore called Above Top Secret by Timothy Good.
Yeah.
It looked interesting. I picked it up off the shelf and just happened to turn to page 301 of that book. And there in a small paragraph says the UFOs were involved during missile shutdowns at Malmstrom Air Force Base in 1966 and 67. And I thought, wow. Well, I had a much more emotional response, but yeah, wow. The Air Force told me this was highly classified. I was never to talk to anybody about it. And yet I see it in print. What I think is my incident. I see it in print, and I think the Air Force must have declassified this. Okay. So we write, I contact somebody from the Mutual UFO Network. I get a hold of an investigator, and I say, let's submit some letters to the Air Force under the Freedom of Information Act requesting information about these incidents written in this book, but don't say anything about UFOs. Let's not give the Air Force a reason to turn us down.
Right. Yeah.
So we didn't. We wrote to the Air Force. They wrote back and said, you know what? This incident is classified. However, since it's been so long, we're going to declassify it and we'll send you documents. So we hit the right office when we wrote this. And they did. They declassified what I'll call now as the Echo Flight Incident. It's the one that happened on March 16th, 1967. As it turns out, it was 8 days before my incident.
Yeah.
But they sent us documents, declassified incident. Now, I thought that was my incident at the time. Because of everything I learned from that, and the fact that in the 27 years before, I had tried to forget about it because I wasn't allowed to talk about it, I thought. Mm. So I tried consciously and subconsciously to lose the information I had about it. I had a hard time remembering, for example, who my commander was in the capsule that evening. It took me 2 years to find him. Hard work. Finally, I made contact with him in 1996, and when I talked to him, he said, we were not at Echo Flight. But by this time, we were at Oscar Flight. So a different location, same type of operation, but a different location. And it was only about 30 miles away, but still, the information that Air Force declassified was about Echo.
Yeah.
The one that happened March 16th. Ours happened March 24th. It's been confirmed by another witness, one of the maintenance people that went out and brought our missiles back up online.
Yeah.
So all that is documented. I've got, and I've reported to Aero on this, the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office.
Right, yeah.
I gave testimony to them in February of 2023.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, quite the story. And, when you were there, did you hear about anything that happened to the missile systems from this UAP? Was there any sign of radiation, EMF interference, or anything like that?
Oh, thank you. I forgot to mention that we had a way of querying the system when a missile shut down.
Yeah.
And the reporting back was guidance and control system failure on each of the missiles. Guidance and control system failure. We had an inertial guidance system. This was not relying on satellite information to tell us whether the missile, once launched, would go on target correctly, etc.
Yeah.
That had onboard a computer called the logic coupler that would use information we were receiving from gyroscopes,
okay,
accelerometers, velocity meters, things like that. would do the calculation to determine if the missile was on target. So Boeing was part of the investigative team, and they looked at this so-called logic coupler computer system and found a way of failing it with a certain signal.
Yeah.
But when they did a bench test, they put it on a bench and they inserted a particular signal, which resulted in the momentary disruption in this logic coupler and would shut down the system. Because if that wasn't operating properly, we couldn't tell if the missile was on track to hit its intended target.
I see. Okay.
So that's why we got that guidance and control system failure, I think. I mean, that's the best the Air Force reported at the time. You know, there's probably been other investigations since, but they're classified. But at any rate, that's the closest we can get. But the Air Force did say that this was an extremely remote possibility that could happen because it was an external signal. It was nothing internal.
Okay.
It had to come from outside.
Yeah.
And it had to, so this object would have had to send that signal through 60 feet of earth and concrete. Remember, we were 60 feet underground.
Yes.
And then penetrate these huge cables we had, 9-inch in diameter. And these cables had triple redundant shielding against electromagnetic interference.
Wow.
Right? But so this object would have had to send that signal to penetrate those cables and use those cables to send this signal to each missile separately and effectuate the guidance failure.
Yeah. So whatever that object was had very much more advanced technology than what was around back in 1967.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, what do you think this object was doing? Do you think it was testing our defenses? Do you think it was trying to send a message?
Okay. Again, this is speculation on my part, but I'm basing this on at least 13 other incidents that are similar involving nuclear weapons facilities. I've written about these in my latest book. And because in each of those incidents, there was no damage done. The objects, and in my incident, of course, there was no damage to the equipment. I just confirmed this from the maintenance people that were there. They found no damage. All they had to do was retarget the missile, go through those procedures, and they came back up, ready to go.
Yeah.
They were not trying to attack us or attack our nuclear weapons. I think, my opinion, they were trying to send us a message.
Yeah.
And that message being, nuclear weapons are not good for your health, humans.
Sure.
If you go to war with nuclear weapons, you're going to destroy every living thing on the planet, and your civilization will be gone.
Right.
So I think it was just a reminder, please get rid of these things.
Yeah.
And I still believe that after all the research I've done, that's my conclusion.
Yeah, that is certainly profound. And with different cases like that, it seems like there's certainly a pattern and a message within that pattern.
Worldwide.
Yeah, of course. This stuff happens elsewhere. It's not just in America. Yeah. Now, I want to circle back to above top secret. You know, they had mention of things going on at Malmstrom
How did they get a hold of that information?
Good question.
Yeah.
And I found out how that happened. Okay, so there was a man by the name of Ray Fowler who worked for Sylvania Corporation, who had a contract with the Air Force under the Boeing contract.
Okay.
His part of the contract involved electrical systems, and he had representatives stationed at Malmstrom Air Force Base at the time of the missiles shutdowns. Some of those individuals saw UFOs. They heard about the shutdowns. They heard the fact that UFOs were involved. They reported this information to Mr. Fowler, who was the manager, and he took the initiative of, and possibly could have lost his job because of it, but he took the initiative of contacting the Condon investigator. The Condon investigation, you may have heard of it.
Yeah.
And wanted to report it so they could further investigate those incidents.
Right.
And include it in their study. So he got a hold of the chief investigator. They physically met. Fowler told him all the information he had. They took that information, actually contacted the Air Force on base at Malmstrom, a man by the name of Lieutenant Colonel Chase, who was the base officer working with the Condon investigation.
Okay.
And he's also the base operations officer.
Yeah.
And asked him directly if he knew of UFO encounters causing missiles to shut down. Chase lied to him, and I proved that. I can show that. It was a lie, that he didn't know anything about that. However, there was a special committee that was investigating it, Air Force investigation, but it was a classified investigation.
Right.
And that they probably wouldn't get access to it. So even though Craig had this information from Fowler, tried to follow up on it, but not very hard. He didn't try very hard. And he was discouraged by his own boss, who was Robert Lowe, who was a deputy to Edward Condon. None of those incidents that I just talked about got into the final Condon report. And the report went out to the Air Force, and it stated that you don't have to worry about these UFOs. They're no threat to our national security.
Oh, well. How about that?
How about that? So
Yeah.
the Air Force got what they wanted, basically a whitewash, a cover-up.
Right.
And they declared in a statement issued in 1969, they would no longer be reporting or investigating UFO reports at Air Force bases or reporting to the public about any incidents involving UFOs, because the Condon Committee told us there was no national security interest here. So that's what happened. And that is still, as far as I know, the Air Force position officially, even though there were many incidents after my own and continue. And the Air Force is holding this information in secrecy away from the public because they don't want to answer questions. Yeah. And the reason they don't want to answer questions is because nuclear weapons is the very foundation, says the DOD, the very foundation of our national security under the auspices of what they call nuclear deterrence policy, which is also known as MAD, right? Mutually assured destruction. And that policy says as long as we have more weapons, or at least as many as some enemy, like Russia, for example, we're going to maintain that supply level of nuclear weapons as a deterrent to nuclear war. But what they're not taking into account is other countries might want to have the same weapons as a deterrent for anyone trying to attack them, right? Like Israel has, like Pakistan, like India, North Korea, the UK, France. Right now, there are 9 nuclear powers in the world that have nuclear weapons that could use them at any time. Russia has threatened Ukraine with the use of tactical nukes.
Right.
India and Pakistan, both nuclear powers, are at war with each other.
Yeah.
And they could use these so-called small nukes, tactical nukes they call them, but there's still 20 kilotons equivalent TNT. There's still the same level of destructive power as they used at Hiroshima and Nagasaki at the end of World War II.
Yes.
So they could still kill hundreds of thousands of people.
Easily. Yeah.
And it could escalate into use of larger weapons.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the message being sent is, certainly, I would say, a good one. Like, don't blow yourselves up, silly humans, right?
Yes.
Now, so you've testified, you've talked to the folks at Arrow, and the public doesn't really, we don't get the full picture, but behind closed doors, is the environment a bit different from how the layperson is seeing things presented on the media?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's being controlled by a secret internal group, which I call the UFO cabal within government.
Yeah.
That are hiding these secrets from Congress, from the president. And this has been recently confirmed by a man by the name of Matthew Brown, who gave an interview to Jeremy Corbell. I don't know if you've heard about him.
Oh, yes.
Jeremy Corbell and what's the other guy's name? Anyway, they interviewed this guy. This is the guy that wrote a report called The Immaculate Constellation.
Right. Yeah, I've heard the name.
And in that report, he says there is a secret group within government that is fighting tooth and nail to maintain secrecy. And one of the reasons is because of greed. These secrets are very valuable.
Right.
Some of them have been transferred to industry for their use in developing weaponry or whatever the DoD wants. They've been used as barter material with other intel agencies in other countries, exchanges for favors here and there. So there's corruption and there's greed going on, and I think those are the main reasons for the secrecy.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly makes sense. They want to maintain the narrative, maintain the power. And especially when, we're just talking about nuclear weapons. If there are this technology out there, whether it's non-human intelligence or something else that we can't even imagine, having it out there that these things can just totally shut us off. They don't want that out there because that makes us vulnerable, right?
Well, it makes us look foolish.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way really to control what they do. But they continue to have these incidents at Air Force bases, not only Air Force, but obviously Navy, facilities. They're able to maneuver underwater and do some fantastic things.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on who they are or what they are? Is that...
I think they're extraterrestrial beings or entities, non-humans, that have been visiting us for a long, long time. I can only speculate how long, but...
Of course.
And they've been watching us to see how we are evolving as a species. Yeah. And I don't think they like what they see at this point. They find us highly warlike, destructive, and I don't think they want to have us as friends at this point. Yeah. And associates.
Yeah, I don't know if I would either.
And so I think they're waiting for us to rise to a higher level of understanding of how to be a friend and how to care for other life in the universe, right?
Yeah. We certainly have a lot of work to do on that front. Have you come across anyone else, since coming out with your story? Has anyone reached out to you with their own stories of things that may not have gotten out there because of NDAs and all that?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, Dave Schindel, who is another witness to a similar event, reached out to me. He was holding that secret. That happened at Malmstrom Air Force Base in 1966. And then I've spoken to many other people, however, that don't want to go public. They could validate just how technologically advanced these non-human intelligences really are, and how they're monitoring our systems. But they don't want to come forward because of fear of talking. Of course, they have probably been signed non-disclosure statements also.
Yeah. There's a lot of,
Anyway, I don't think I finished telling you why it was that this story was in this book. So Ray Fowler, once the Condon investigators refused to follow up on what he had told them, Ray Fowler got angry and decided to give an interview to the Christian Science Monitor in 1973, which he did. And the Monitor published it in 1973, and that's where Timothy Good got the information that he included in this book. And because Fowler spoke about it, I'm sure Good thought that this had been declassified, but in fact, it hadn't been when he put it in his book. But that's good fortune for me, because when I read it, we sent those requests of Freedom of Information Act requests and got the Air Force to declassify that incident.
Yeah.
And then I decided to keep, once I found out that wasn't my incident, I decided to keep talking.
Yeah.
Even though I was under threat with that national, non-disclosure agreement, which would result, if they prosecuted me, in jail time, right?
Right. Which, naturally, have you come into issues with threats?
I haven't. They have not pursued me. And I've been speaking about this now for 30 years in 16 or 17 foreign nations, all over the United States, all over the social media, here at conferences, and they have not come after me. And I think I know why, because I've got the goods, I've got the evidence, I've got supporting witnesses. They don't want to take me to court, make a big deal out of this, because I will present a solid case that these things did happen, and it's being hidden from the public, and they don't want the public to know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good that you've got the receipts. Now, where do you see disclosure and everything happening over the next 5-10 years? Obviously, since 2017, there was a big movement, a lot of information coming out, the Tic Tac report with the Nimitz, and even 2023 with David Grush coming out with his testimony, Jacob Barber most recently, and Mr. Brown from just a little while ago.
Yeah, I think our best chance for disclosure is for Congress to have more hearings, public hearings, bring in witnesses like myself, actual witnesses that will tell their stories of encounters with the goods, with evidence to back it up.
Yes.
And that will go a long way for the public to get further involved, for the media, the mainstream media, to get more deeply involved in this and getting the Congress and other agencies like the U.S. Air Force to come forth and disclose what they know. What kind of studies have they doing? Have they recovered craft? Have they recovered bodies? What did they find out? That's the kind of information that we require under disclosure. And I think we're going in the right direction. However, it's going to be tough because of this cabal, this solidly well-organized, well-funded secret group that's international, by the way. It's worldwide, not just in the U.S. government, but in other governments. And they are cooperating, again, because of the greed, power, of these secrets, and it's going to be tough to break that, but I think it can be done with enough public outcry.
Yeah. Do you think this cabal they must be afraid? I mean, with what they might know, the technology they might possess, especially if there have been crash retrievals, reverse engineering. I mean, people are going to want to know that. People are going to, realize that this technology can help us in ways we can't even imagine.
Exactly. So this is not going to go away.
Yeah.
The cabal can try to keep their secrets for as long as they can, but this subject is not going to disappear. People like myself and others are going to keep pushing, keep pressing for more information until we get disclosure.
Yeah. Well, we need people like you, and thank you so much for, getting your story out there and continuing to fight the good fight. It's super important. Now, I know you've got places to be, so this has been a really great conversation. Before we wrap it up, can you tell my listeners where the best places to find you online, and all that?
Yeah, I've got a lot of information on my website called spiralgalaxy.org. All one word, Spiral Galaxy. And I also have a YouTube channel under Bob Salas at Giant Head 3, I think it is. Bob Salas at Giant Head 3. I've got a YouTube channel. And again, you'll see a lot of videos on there, videos that I made about my incident, the Echo incident, and presentations we've given before the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. from time to time. A lot of information on there. And
you have a couple books as well.
Absolutely. I've written 3 books, and I've got them on sale here, but any of your audience can go to Amazon.com and look for my name as an author. I've written a book called Faded Giant, Faded, F-A-D-E-D, Giant. That was the first book. It's got a lot of the documents we received in the appendix. I've written a book called The UFO Phenomenon. And my last book was an extensive revision of that second book, and it's called UAPs and the Nuclear Puzzle.
Great. Well, thank you again so much. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you to Robert Salas again for taking the time to have a conversation with me, to tell his story, and definitely check out all of his books. All of his links will be in the show notes, as always. Since this interview was conducted, we've had more hearings, more interesting things happening in the world of UFOs and disclosure. So there's more stuff coming out all the time. And it's really interesting it's an interesting time to be alive, for sure. Growing up with this stuff and having it be such a fringe topic at the outer edges of society and getting, weird looks if you mention to someone that you saw a UFO. Nowadays, I think we're headed in the right direction. So again, make sure to check out Robert's links and all of his stuff. Links will be in the show notes. And hey, thank you again for listening today and hanging out, and also for bearing with me while we were on a little bit of a hiatus. Again, I'm Jeff. This is the Strangeology podcast, of course. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you out there to everyone who listens to my show. Those of you who download it, subscribe on the podcast platforms, on YouTube. If you share it with friends and family and you support what I do, I love you so much and you're the best. And if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel out a ton, more than you know. It boosts everything out so more curious minds on the similar wavelength of the strange and unexplained can discover Strangeology. None of this would be possible without the support of listeners like you. And again, don't forget, if you want more content, I've got a whole back catalog of stuff on social media. If you're new to the show, you can check me out again on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, X, Threads, Substack, Blue Sky, and planning on being able to post more on all those platforms soon. And also make sure to check out the Patreon. You can also become a member on my YouTube channel as well. And don't forget to support me by picking up some Strangeology merch over on my Etsy shop. All the links for that will be in the show notes. All right, that's it for the show today. Strangeology Beyond is kind of on a little bit of a break now, as these interviews from Contact in the Desert only had a limited amount of time, and my time at home is limited right now, but I'm hoping to get back into it soon. So until the next time, take care of yourselves and each other, and keep it strange.